Mark, do you want to start recording? All right, awesome. So I apologize for the kerfuffle. I did not have a good connection last week when I was trying to upload our agenda. And so therefore we weren't able to have our meeting because by the time I got back, it didn't post, and we didn't have the 24-hour notice of posting before our meeting. So that's why we had to reschedule. So I apologize for that, and creating two meeting links inadvertently, and making you have just a really good Wednesday this evening. But let's go ahead. We're going to call our Senior Advisory Board meeting to order here at 5:08. Does everyone have the agenda that was sent out today? Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a yes, Becky?
Yeah.
Okay. You're on mute. So I can't, okay, I'll just read your lips. All right, does anybody have any adjustments they need to make to the agenda? No, okay. And as most of you know, I have a frog voice this week from smoke inhalation due to the wildfires. So I apologize for the grating on your ears, but it's fine. Did everybody get the April 14th minutes?
I couldn't find them.
No, I couldn't find them either.
Okay, I'll resend those out after this meeting, and we'll have to vote on that again next time. Let's see, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have a quorum. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We have no citizen comments to read. Renee is not able to be here this evening, so we don't have council updates. Kristen, do you have anything that you might be able to share on behalf of council?
That's a good question. We were just chatting just before the meeting started, but I know not everybody was on yet. I think the only announcement I can think of at this time is we have hired a new city manager, Keith Campbell, and he will be starting on October 7th. So I'm sure at some point he'll pop into the meeting, and would love to meet all of you guys sometime in the near future. But he comes from Staten. He's going to be real busy. He said, I talked to him today. He said he feels like he's drinking from the fire hose, just trying to get up to speed on things. So we'll let him get settled a little bit. But that's my only announcement, unless anyone has any questions for me that I can try to answer. I will mention, if you've been at the Senior Center, you may have noticed or heard the construction of the Cedar Creek Trail that's going on behind the Senior Center and through that whole corridor. And I was able to walk up there Monday evening for a tour, and it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited. I'm really excited about the access that it's going to provide to the Senior Center and to the seniors to be able to go and take a walk. Or all of Sherwood, really, the accessibility, it's really going to be neat. So stay tuned.
What do we have kind of a timeline on when we might be able to stroll through there when the building's not shaking anymore?
I know some of those trees and some of the stuff that they've taken down, I'm like, wow. Probably the completion date we're still aiming for is going to be probably March-ish. It's really going to depend on the weather and the rains, and depending on how things go this winter. And obviously rains are coming in this weekend, and yeah, but it should be complete in the spring.
Wow, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I guess the next thing on our agenda is we have some new board members joining us this evening. As some of you may know, we had some of our board members leave us at the end of their terms in June. And so over this summer, Kaz, Renee, and I were doing some interviews. We were accepting applications and did some interviews. And Jen Myers and Becky Hicks were unanimously voted in as members of our board. So why don't we just take a moment, let's introduce ourselves to our new members, and then we'll give them a chance to introduce themselves to us. Nancy, do you want to go ahead and start?
My name is Nancy Phillips. I guess I've been doing this a year now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Year and a half. Yeah.
I feel like I haven't done anything for a year and a half. So, but my name says Tila, and that's my mom. She goes to the senior center whenever she can, and so that's part of the reason I got involved in this for her. But I don't know what else you want to know. I don't work anymore. I was working when we started this, but since COVID, I stay home now. But it's worked out for the best. Sometimes I think situations happen to force us to do something we should have done and couldn't bring ourselves to do. So now I stay home and I take care of my mom.
Wonderful. Thank you. Kaz?
Hi, I'm Kaz Thompson. I've been on this board for a year and a half. I am also live here at the YMCA. I run the Healthy Living department here. And over COVID, I was actually teaching some Tai Chi classes to the senior centre. So I'm hoping to somehow work that back into my schedule again. My passion is for seniors, and just love how this is allowing me to go dive deeper and take it beyond just the YMCA.
Wonderful. Thank you. Julie?
Well, I've been a member as long as Kaz, and I've enjoyed it. I'd like to see us maybe move on a questionnaire or a survey to see what we might be missing. We do have a great mission statement, I think. I'm feeling the pressure because don't we have to in the spring report to City Council? Maya?
At the end of the year, yeah, we do our strengths, weaknesses, and so on to a SWOT report. So we'll be doing that. And after the end of today, maybe we'll have some guidance on where to go there. So
Good. Yeah, I'm concerned about any kind of disappearing rent subsidies. And so I wonder if that's on Sherwood's radar, if that's an issue that we should be looking at. I think just having people understand that we're here is important to me, and for them to communicate if they feel they have a need that we're not addressing. There's a lot we can do, I think.
yeah. And Julie is also a former volunteer here at the center and possibly a future volunteer again here at the center. So that'll be lovely. Donna, are you able to hear me? Are you able to introduce yourself?
Yes, I can introduce myself.
Fabulous.
Who did we lose? Maya?
Oh, Aaron Odom, Chris Wiley, and Shelly McGill.
Oh, rats. Okay. Hi, new members, Rebecca and Stefan. Is that your name, Stefan?
Oh, it's under my husband's account. I'm Jen.
Okay. I thought that maybe that was short for Stephanie. Okay. Jen and Rebecca, I'm Donna. I'm a health and Medicare insurance broker here in Sherwood, and this is my first year being with the senior center council, and I really enjoy it. So it's very interesting, and I look forward to the meetings. So you'll like it. If you need any assistance and you want to reach out to me, I'm here for you. All right, that's all I have to say.
Wonderful. Thank you, Donna. And hopefully you know me a little bit. I'm Maya Martin Burbank. I'm the manager here at the Marjorie Stewart Senior Center and the city liaison to this wonderful board. And Kristen, I'll let you let everybody know who you are who might not have met you.
Yeah, I'm Kristen Schweitzer. I'm the interim or city manager pro tem. And normally my role is community services director.
All right, now let's get to know our newbies. Go ahead, Jen. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your interest in the board?
So my name is Jen Myers. I am a local resident here in Sherwood. I run a local real estate business here, and I have 2 kiddos in school. And I started volunteering with the senior center almost a year ago. Actually, I started delivering meals during COVID, and it really made me aware of just the need I think our community has to bring a little bit more awareness to what some of our local senior residents really need. Our community is currently focused a lot around younger kids and families, which I think is great and has a lot of value in Sherwood. But I really think that we're missing the mark on some of what our older residents need. I think that has to do with just getting some word out and getting some momentum behind some programs that could really benefit them. I think pulling eyes towards what the senior center can offer, what some of our residents need will be really important. And so I was really, really excited when Maya started talking to me about the opportunity on this board. I think there's a great chance to make a difference. And so I'm just really excited to work with you guys in the future.
Thank you, Jen. And Becky, how's your microphone situation? Interpretive dance, maybe?
Oh, we can't see it.
Oh, I can't see that, but you can tell me later. But Becky has been a longtime volunteer. She she's big here. She sends love out to everybody. I don't know. But yeah, she's been a long time volunteer here at the Senior Center. She has served on the Friends of the Senior Center's board, is no longer in that position, but I know she continues to want to be able to affect positive change in our senior community. So that's my introduction on her behalf. Hopefully, you're welcome. Hopefully she'll be able to further introduce herself next time. We'll work on the microphones. The next thing on our list is without Aaron and Chris, we have lost our board chair and vice chair. And as some of you know, the main duties of the chair is to kind of to lead these meetings, to do the talking that I am doing now and to help spur on the activities that we decide on doing as a group. So are any of you possibly interested in taking on the role of chair or vice chair? The vice chair basically is the chair when they're not here, so. Oh, I just, the rushing to the microphone here, everyone's super excited.
That's a stampede.
Stampede. Well, maybe we'll table that discussion. Are we able to not have a chair until our next meeting? Kristen, do you know?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if people want to give it some thought, yeah, as Maya mentioned, the duties are really helping run the meeting, which we're always happy to sit down and talk to somebody about that, going through Robert's Rules of Orders. As you can see, it's a really casual group. It's an easy group. Everybody's very supportive. And then the other thing is reviewing the agenda and just helping us, if there's items that we might want to discuss. When we do have vacancies come up, it's often participating in those interviews. That would be the other role of the chair. But typically it's a couple hours at the most outside of the regular meeting. And even then, it's probably realistically more like 10 minutes unless we have vacancies. So.
And Maya, do you want to mention that there is online a condensed Robert's Rules of Order, so people can refer to that. It's very easy. I mean, it's put it in kind of an order of what you might do, how you conduct a meeting, and it's not as overwhelming as you think.
And she's going to email me that link so I can send that out to everybody after the meeting too, so you can review those as well.
Awesome.
All right, well, we're tabling that. We'll get back to that later. So the next thing on our agenda is meeting location. Do we want to stay a Teams-based meeting? Do we want to try to do a hybrid model? as many of you know, we're not doing in-person dining here at the center. We are just doing masked activities. So if of course, if we were to be together in the building in a hybrid situation, we would obviously have to be masked. But does anybody have any feelings on that?
I kind of like the Zoom for the time being because of the Delta and so forth.
That's my thoughts.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I was going to say too. The Delta is pretty bad right now.
Okay, yeah, that item has been on the agenda since June. But we've come a long way since then, and I agree. Let's go ahead and stick with Teams unless anybody wants to make a motion, which is not the sense that I'm getting. We'll stay on Teams for our next couple of meetings. Okay, fabulous. Do we want to stay doing the every other month format? Or do we want to try to do an every month format? That might be a better question after my presentation.
Every other month is fine for now.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think if we have, some work to do, maybe little committee work, maybe 2 people on a project or something or other, I think every month would be helpful. But, it's just if we get busy on doing, as we talked before about a survey, that kind of thing, then I think, maybe every month would be great just to touch base, but I'm okay with whatever.
Okay. So we're keeping it all the same, everybody. No changes to be made. All right. Sounds like good. And with that, the next thing on the list is this age-friendly cities presentation, which I have been talking a lot about over the last couple months and hoping to give this information to you guys. So I'll get started with that, and please ask me any questions as we go through. I'm easygoing and as Kristen mentioned, not terribly formal. So I'm going to get started on that, and hopefully you guys will have a lot of great questions. Last time I tried to share my screen, it absolutely did not work. So please bear with as I try to make this work.
I'm glad I'm not the only one having technical issues.
This is all the time. Okay. Okay. So what does everybody see right now? If you'd be so kind as to tell me.
We see your screen. It says age-friendly cities.
This is wonderful news.
Yes.
This is wonderful news. Okay. So age-friendly cities. Age-friendly cities is an initiative that has come out of the World Health Organization's taking a look at the needs of older adults throughout the world, how those needs are being met, and what can cities do to better make their urban environments friendlier to aging. And this doesn't just pertain to older adults, but it's talking about how can a city be friendly to people who are born there, who go to school there, who graduate, want to get a job and live in their city, age in their city, have children, and retire in their city. So this is looking at how to make Sherwood friendly, possibly for from birth all the way through the whole life of our residents. So with the increase of urbanization and longevity, the World Health Organization took an initiative to look at components of urbanization that made cities better suited to the population as it ages. Research was undertaken in 33 cities around the world, and results were published in 2006. AARP, the EPA, and many cities, neighborhoods, and counties have taken the results of the study to guide growth and redevelopment, focusing on both the built environment and social connectivity. Age-friendly cities are part of a network of over 1,000 urban environments that put people first, making all cities accessible and supportive to people of all ages. And if anybody is curious, I have the World Health the Global Age-Friendly Cities Guide from the World Health Organization and all of the accompanying studies that came from this. So I'm happy to lend those out, print those out, email those out to anybody who would like to have more information on that. So who should be part of an age-friendly network? So what we're doing is looking to change public policy such as housing, transportation, outdoor spaces, and infrastructure. We are looking for, so that would be government related and city council related. We're also looking for the buy-in from the private sector. So in housing, communication, health, community services, and other private sector industries in Sherwood, we want them to also participate in this vision of an age-friendly city. It also helps to raise awareness of livability issues like we were discussing earlier. It increases collaboration within our community, increases that dialogue between the private sector, the public sector, and everybody who is living in our community. And it also integrates an informed age-friendly lens into strategic planning. So this is something that is not just us as a advisory board, it's something that would involve all elements of the Sherwood community. These age-friendly city ideas come down to 8 domains of livability. So as you can see here, I'm also reading for anybody who's not able to read the screen. Those 8 domains of livability are social participation, housing, outdoor spaces and buildings, transportation, communication and information distribution, civic participation and employment, respect and social inclusion, and health services and community supports. And as we talk about this, there are several age-friendly cities and communities in Oregon. Newburgh is considered an age-friendly city as going through this process. Portland was actually one of the very early adopters of this model. Sisters, Oregon is an age-friendly city who's going through this process as well. So it's interesting to think of your connotations of those cities and how you think they're supporting their residents, especially their aging residents, as we go through this presentation and see what might be working for them and what might be working for us if we decide to do this. So the first realm, outdoor spaces and buildings. An age-friendly city has clean and pleasant public spaces. The pavement is well maintained, free of obstructions and reserved for pedestrians. Pavements are non-slip, wide enough for wheelchairs, and have dropped curbs to road level, so that accessibility from the height of the curb down to the street level. Pedestrian crossings are sufficient in number, with non-slip markings, visual and audio cues, and adequate crossing times. Green spaces and outdoor seating are sufficient in number, well-maintained and safe, meaning that there's safe spots for people to take a break, to rest, and not have to walk from place to place without any sort of break. Cycle paths are separate from pavements and other walkways. Services are situated together and are accessible. Public toilets are outdoors and indoors. They're sufficient in number, clean, and well maintained. Am I going too fast for anybody? Is this okay pacing? Okay. I can't really see anybody. I just see my screen. But I see people cycling through on the right there. All right, so another issue that's close to our hearts here is transportation. Public transportation in an age-friendly city is reliable and frequent, including at night, on weekends, and holidays. All city areas and services are accessible by public transport with good connections and well-marked routes and vehicles. Transport stops and stations are conveniently located, accessible, safe, clean, well-lit, and well-marked, again with adequate seating and shelter. Roadways are free of obstructions that block drivers' vision. Driver education and refresher courses are promoted for all drivers. Priority parking and drop-off spots for people with special needs are available and are respected. Specialized transport is available for disabled people. Roads are well maintained with covered drainage and good lighting. Another important aspect is housing. And in an age-friendly city, sufficient and affordable housing is available in areas that are safe and close to services and the rest of community. So that's a big sticker, because oftentimes affordable housing is put to the outer limits of cities where there are food deserts and not accessible ways to get to services. Sufficient and affordable home maintenance and support services are available, so repairs are able to be taken care of in an affordable fashion. Home modification options and supplies are available and affordable, and providers understand the needs of older adults. Housing is well constructed and provides safe and comfortable shelter from the weather. Interior spaces and level surface allow freedom of movement in all rooms and passageways. Public and commercial rental housing is clean, well-maintained, and safe. Sufficient and affordable housing for frail and disabled people with appropriate services is provided locally, so that people are able to get the services they need in a timely fashion. There is enough services to account for the people who live in an area, and people aren't having to wait for services to come from outside of the area to be able to take care of their needs. Social participation is another element of an age-friendly city, and that means that venues for events and activities are conveniently located, accessible, well-lit, and easily reached by public transport. Events are held at times that are convenient for participation by all people. Activities and attractions are affordable with no hidden or additional participation costs. Good information about all activities and events is provided, including details about the accessibility of facilities and transportation options for older adults. A wide variety of activities is offered to appeal to a diverse population. There is consistent outreach to include people at risk of social isolation, and gatherings, including older adults, are held in various local community spots. Respect and social inclusion means that older adults are regularly consulted by public, voluntary, and commercial services on how to serve them better. Service staff are courteous and helpful. Older adults are visible in the media and are depicted positively and without stereotyping. It's a big deal. Older adults are specifically included in community activities for families. Schools provide opportunities to learn about aging and older adults, as well as involve older adults in activities. Older adults are recognized for their past and present contributions, and older adults with less economic means have good access to public, voluntary, and private services. Civic participation and employment. A range of flexible options for older volunteers is available, with training, recognition, guidance, and compensation for personal costs. The qualities of older adults are well promoted. A range of flexible and appropriately paid positions for older adults is promoted as well. Discrimination on the basis of age alone is forbidden in the hiring, retention, promotion, and training of employees. Workspaces are adapted to meet the needs of differently abled people. Decision-making bodies in the public, private, and voluntary sectors facilitate membership of older adults, and self-employment options are promoted and supported for older adults as well. Communication and information disbursement in an in an age-friendly city is that basic, effective communication systems reach community residents of all ages. Regular and widespread distribution of information is assured, and a coordinated, centralized access is provided. Oral communication is accessible to older adults and is promoted. There is wide public access to computers and the internet at no or minimal charge in public places such as government offices, community centers, and libraries. People at risk of social isolation get one-to-one information from trusted individuals, and public and commercial services provide friendly person-to-person service upon request. In the community and health services sector, an adequate range of health and community support services is offered for promoting, maintaining, and restoring health. Home care services, including health and personal care, as well as housekeeping, is available. Health and social services are conveniently located and accessible by all means of transport. Clear and accessible information is provided about health and social services for older people. Economic barriers impeding access to health and community support services are minimized. And community emergency planning takes into account the vulnerable capacities of older adults. I'm going to take a sip. Sorry, guys.
You're doing great.
Okay, so that is kind of what we're looking for in a nutshell. And you'll recognize in some of the pictures that I included in this presentation and your knowledge of the city of Sherwood and our community resources and how we are structured, that some of these we're doing a pretty good job at. We can definitely do better at many of them, and some of them need direct looking at and support. So if we decide that we want to do an age-friendly process and apply to become an age-friendly city, there's a couple of steps. And I couldn't find this graphic that I've been working off of, but the first step would be enrollment. Year one, there would be a survey conducted, so that would kind of be the next thing that would happen to find out what are important to the people in our community. There would be surveys, there would be listening sessions that would happen. It would be available to hear the needs from people outside of our group, our board. We would then create an action plan. We would find out what we need to focus on, how we're going to focus on them, and what we're going to do as a result. So those two things each take about a year. The next section is about 3 to 5 years, or year 3 to year 5. So that's a 2-year window there, is the implementation of those action plans. At year 5, so after 5 years of this process, we stop, take a look at where we are, see what improvements have been able to be implemented by this plan, where growth is needed. Our SWOT, what we have accomplished, what we need to do, and start the process over. We then again do surveys, we do listening sessions, and we kind of start over to make sure we're continuously addressing the needs of our community. So the first thing you see here is we need, if we would decide to do this as a group, we would need to establish a way through a commission, advisory panel, focus groups, such as ourselves, to include all stages of an age-friendly, older adults in the process of age-friendly planning and implementation. Mm-hmm. We would then do the needs assessment. We have plenty of examples and documentation from AARP and the WHO that would help us with that. They have a survey that we could go through just from the top, that we can go through piece by piece and look at where we think we need to focus, and we can use those assessments in the survey and listening sessions. This is something that we would need to make sure that City Council was on board with, and the mayor, because part of the application process is having a letter written from the mayor stating that they would like to be involved in this process, and that their city is going, and their city council will be engaging in this planning process. Pardon me. So if we decide to do this, we would talk to City Council. This is something where Renee would be helpful, but she wasn't able to be at this meeting. So I'll be going over with her about this later, and finding out ways that we want to move forward if you guys would like to. Because we would put together a letter of commitment from the mayor and then submit an application and go through those next steps with the listening sessions and the survey. We kind of talked about this because we really want to make sure that we're involving everybody who has a stake in these decisions, has a voice in what we're doing to work on this process, and completing that assessment to go through and make sure that we're looking at all those 8 aspects of an age-friendly city. So again, this is another graphic kind of going through what I talked about. setting up those listening sessions, seeing how we can provide that input, conducting a comprehensive and inclusive baseline assessment of the age friendliness of our community, then coming up with that 3-year community-wide action plan, and identify the indicators to monitor the progress of the plan. So what are the benchmarks that we are looking for? What is showing us that success is happening from these programs? And that was a swoop through, because I'm trying to not keep you guys late tonight. But does anybody have any questions?
I really think this is interesting because after looking at the presentation, there are a lot of areas that Sherwood already, sorry, that's my dog, Sherwood touches on and does really well, but there are definitely areas for improvement. And what I would be really curious, kind of back to the whole survey idea, is what people in the community are looking for that we can incorporate into that plan. I think that what could potentially be appealing to the mayor is if we're already knocking off some of those items, if Sherwood is already touching on some of those items, and by improving some other areas, we could convert this into a city that does meet everybody's needs. That would be really appealing. But I think to do that, we need to see what some of the residents are looking for and what they're really needing. So I like the survey idea.
So I've actually been passionate about this topic since I went to a presentation in Portland. I think it wasn't long after I've been in this role since 2014. So maybe around about 2015, 16, I started to go to events in Portland. I was there at the kickoff. I was there when they were promoting stuff, and then they were giving examples of communities. That the big thing that I really loved was the way where they had communities that were actually intergenerational. There was one place, I think it was in the east side of Portland, where it was a place where people who had kids, but they couldn't afford childcare. But within this community, the people who were retired were there, were helping to look after kids so that the parents could go out to work, and it was super, super cool. A lot of the issues that are coming up here, like, I mean, just hearing conversations with the members who come here to work out or our social events, transportation, affordable housing, we hear that all the time, and we keep reading about it. COVID has proven about like the lack of transportation for seniors who don't drive, or if they've lost that ability. So I'm going, to me, when I found out Newburgh was an age-friendly city and Sherwood wasn't, I had big question marks. I'm like, why are we not? And again, it was like, I seem to be that lunatic in the corner shouting for, but what about the seniors? What about the seniors? So this is an ideal opportunity. We've been talking about for a year and a half about a survey. Now we have something in place that we could follow, and then if we get the city buy-in, then you're going to get that momentum. And the fact that you are actually going out there asking a survey, then doing implementation, then you're stopping, reviewing, and then it's going to be an ongoing basis. So I will shut up now and I will allow somebody else to talk.
I agree, Kaz. That's great. I think all your points are valid, and I would love to see us use this as a framework. And I agree very much that if we get city council, the mayor, and organizations such as Chamber, Rotary involved, we will succeed. And I think some of the things we've covered, Maya, and some things we have not had a chance to. So I think it's a wonderful framework. I would like to have an email with that presentation, if you don't mind.
Oh, yes, and it'll be emailed out at the end, and it's also posted online with the information from this meeting, so other people will be able to access that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Also, just so you know that other cities that have gone through this process, 60% have achieved change in public policy in their first cycle through, which is great. There's been an increase in private sector investment and action. And 85% of the participants in the age-friendly city process has described other successes, such as just like raising awareness of the livability issues, increasing collaboration within the community, enacting the programs that come up as part of the action plan that comes out of the survey and listening sessions, and really integrating that age-friendly lens into public policies and future planning for a city. So if this is something that we want to use as a framework and we want to start the application process, that's something that you guys can make a motion and vote for. The next step would be to start the application process to let AARP and the WHO know that we're going to start the process. And then they kind of help us with the toolkits, the examples, action planning examples, the survey examples, everything like that, that we can then use to help guide us in this process.
Is there a cost to that, Maya?
Nope. No, the costs that come from this are with the changes that are made. So if there's policies, to do any sort of like infrastructure change, that's
Right.
from infrastructure that's in place, or going forward, if there's mitigation that needs to happen to make sure that all ages are accounted for in future building and planning, that's where the costs come up. And we can, there's grants that are available to help offset that. That's kind of where you get into that public sector involvement and buy-in as well, to help keep that going from not just the public sector and what we're doing as a city, but once you step off that city road into a parking lot of a business, that they're helping to meet those needs as well. All right. Okay, well, I'll hush up now. And after this, I'll go ahead, I will send out some information. I can send out that survey, that point-by-point survey, so you guys can decide if we want to use that as part of our model for planning our listening sessions and the kind of widespread survey that we're going to start with. And we'll go from there. We'll have a continuing conversation. This is not a just today or tomorrow situation. This is something that hopefully we'll be able to guide how we're able to make change in Sherwood going into the future.
Exciting.
Sorry for the voice. What was that, Jen?
I said, this is exciting.
Yeah, I was really excited by this because it takes a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about and gives us scaffolding and a structure on how to accomplish things to make change.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does anybody else have anything else they want to say on this topic before I move on? All right. Hearing none, I move on. So the next thing I have up is other topics. I have a quick thing. I know you guys are already engaged in our board here and have just learned that we might have some work cut out for us ahead. That will take some time. It'll take some of our doing to make this happen. But Washington County, their Board of Aging and Veteran Services, their Aging Veteran Services Advisory Council has open positions right now. So if anybody would like information on how to apply to that board, that would be great, so we could have that connection and kind of know at a larger level what Washington County is doing. They meet Thursdays from 9 to noon, and I believe it's the third Thursday of each month. So I'd be happy to email that link out to you too, so you can investigate that.
Yes, could you send that to me, Maya? I would be interested in that.
Of course, yeah. I'll send. I think I'll send it out to everybody so you can make that determination and apply. And if somebody is on that board, I would love to have you speak at our meetings so you can tell us what's going on.
Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right. Does anybody else have business that they would like to bring up? Oh, you guys are so quiet.
I would just add that the Sherwood YMCA, we are still giving out food bags every Wednesday between 10:30 and 12:30.
Fabulous. And as many of you know, the Senior Center, as I mentioned, we have closed to in-person dining. We are still doing pickup and delivery of our meals, of course. We've had quite a fun group of people that have had little picnics in the parking lot, in our patio, in the grass outside here. So that's been really fun. I'm glad that this weather has been so beautiful the last couple weeks, because it's really been nice. We do still have activities going on as long as people are able to be masked in the center, and they're following those guidelines. We have pinochle happening, bingo on Fridays. Strong for Life exercise is a hybrid program. We're starting to do our craft classes once a month again, as long as people are masked. So we have some fun things coming up there, and we're starting bocce Tuesdays at 11. So we'll have outdoor bocce when the weather agrees, and when the weather doesn't agree, we'll have indoor cornhole, because the bocce balls don't work in the building, but we can do beanbags in the building.
Do you still need drivers for the meals?
Yeah. We have an open shift on Thursdays that we are looking for some help with, and we have a shift available on Fridays. We are also looking for some help in the kitchen, if you know anybody who would like to do that. And of course, we do still have an open board position. So if you have a community that you want to spread the news, I can send you some information to send out. You can also, if you have people that you know would be interested in helping with this process and helping with older adults in Sherwood, go ahead and let them know that opportunity is available.
Well, I have a question about that. I have moms in the community that have approached me about the driving program and wonder if their kids can come along with them. What are the rules on that? Can someone be in the car while they're delivering meals, or can it only be that one person because of COVID right now?
Because of COVID, we'd like to keep the number of people in the car to one.
Okay.
Although if you're in a podded household, everybody in the car basically counts as one COVID person, because y'all are exposed to each other all the time. But also just to protect from distracted driving and so forth, we tried to keep that to a minimum. But I do understand the importance of being able to have your children with you while you're volunteering, because it does help create a pattern of volunteerism for the future. So if somebody wants to have a kid in the car, just have them come talk to me, so we can just make sure to go over all the regulations and rules that we need to go through to make sure that people are safe and protected.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? We're getting it right under the nose of 6 o'clock. We're doing well. All right. So just things to think of between now and when I see you again, which right now is going to be November 10th. So that's 2 months from now. It's November 10th. If you're feeling inspired and would like to meet before then, let me know now, so we can go from there.
I would suggest that we actually meet before then to get the momentum going on this age-friendly stuff, because I think that's going to take time. If we leave it like another 2 months, then we're another 2 months behind. So I would like it, since we've got this is the most, like, the closest we've had to like actually making a huge big impact. So let's keep the momentum going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to make a motion to change our meetings to monthly in for the next couple months, and then we can figure it out again?
I put forward the motion that we meet monthly until we've got some momentum going with the age-friendly city.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, first and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Or give me a thumbs up. All those against, give me a nay. I only hear crickets, so we're going to go ahead and I'll change that so that our next meeting will be October 13th. That's a Wednesday, again at 5 o'clock. That'll be on Teams. I will only send out one link to that and not two, so we don't have the confusion we had today. And I really appreciate you all being patient with everybody and me while we tried to get that figured out. And with that, I will go ahead and adjourn our meeting at 5:56 today. And I look forward to seeing you on October 13th. Think about if you'd like to be chair or perhaps vice chair, so we can talk about that at our next meeting. I'll send out the PowerPoint presentation that I gave today along with some of the documents that I've used to come up with that presentation and that I've mentioned. Well, I've been babbling on, and I'll send out the link to more information about the Washington County Aging and Veteran Services Council. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I release you to your Wednesdays.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.